You're cruising through your neighborhood on a Saturday morning, and you see it. Your neighbor, let's call him Dave, just had a crew of guys crawl all over his roof. Now he's got these sleek black glass panels soaking up the sun. Dave's standing in his driveway, looking like he just won the lottery. He tells you he's sticking it to the utility company. He says his electric bill is basically zero. And meanwhile, you just opened your mail to find a $300 statement from the power company that feels like a punch in the gut. You start thinking, am I the sucker here? Am I literally burning money while Dave is living in the future? It's a seductive thought. The idea of energy independence is one of the most powerful marketing hooks ever invented. It taps into that deep American desire to be off the grid, self-sufficient, and smarter than the big utility monopoly. But before you sign that 20-page contract and let a high-pressure sales rep drill holes in your roof, I need to burst that bubble. Because in the world of finance, feelings are terrible advisors. And the solar industry? They aren't selling you green energy. They're selling you a complex financial product wrapped in a save-the-planet bow. My name is Woof, and today, we're going into the war room to look at the math the solar industry is praying you never calculate. The solar sales pitch is a masterpiece of psychological warfare. It usually starts with a free consultation that is anything but free. They show up with glossy iPads and charts that look like they were designed by NASA. They talk about federal tax credits, net metering, and zero-down financing. They make it sound like the government is practically begging you to take their money. They tell you that solar pays for itself. It's a no-brainer, right? You replace an unpredictable utility bill with a fixed solar loan payment that's slightly lower. You feel like you just made a boss move. You feel like you're locking in your energy costs for the next 25 years. But here's the first red flag. If a deal is truly a no-brainer, they wouldn't need a 24-year-old in a polo shirt knocking on your door at dinner time to convince you to take it. Real investments don't require high-pressure snake oil tactics. The reason they're pushing so hard is because the green energy grift relies on one thing: your inability to understand opportunity cost. Let's look at Dave. Dave felt the solar envy and pulled the trigger. He signed up for a $35,000 system. The sales rep told him he'd get a 30% federal tax credit, which sounds amazing until you realize that a tax credit isn't a check in the mail. It's just a reduction in what you owe the IRS. If you don't owe that much in taxes, you don't get the full benefit up front. Dave financed the whole thing over 20 years at a low interest rate. But what the rep conveniently left out was the dealer fee. In the solar world, these fees can be 20% to 30% of the total loan amount, baked right into the principal. Dave thinks he's borrowing $35,000, but he's actually starting his journey $10,000 underwater on a depreciating asset. He's paying interest on a fee that exists solely to pay the commission of the guy who sold him the dream. Dave's $0 power bill is a lie. He just traded a flexible utility bill for a rigid 20-year debt obligation that's tied to his house like a ball and chain. Why does this scam work so well? Because it targets our lizard brain. We hate waste. We hate the idea of renting our power from a utility company when we could own the sun. The industry uses words like investment and asset to make a consumer purchase feel like a wealth-building strategy. They play on your fear of rising rates. They tell you that utility costs go up 5% every year forever. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But they never mention that solar panels are a depreciating asset. The day they're bolted to your roof, they're worth half of what you paid. They degrade every year, they lose efficiency. They are a piece of technology like a laptop or a smartphone, and try selling a 10-year-old laptop for what you paid for it. You can't. But the solar industry wants you to believe that your roof-mounted tech is a financial fortress. It's not. It's a liability with a glass cover. Let's run the numbers generously. Say your system costs $30,000 after credits. You save $150 a month on electricity. That's $1,800 a year. On paper, it takes about 16 years just to break even. 16 years of hoping the inverter doesn't blow, 16 years of hoping the roof doesn't leak, and 16 years of hoping the utility company doesn't change the net metering rules. In many states, utility companies are already slashing what they pay you for your excess power. They're adding grid connection fees that you have to pay even if you produce 100% of your own energy. The payback period is a moving target that always seems to stay just out of reach. And we haven't even touched the hidden costs yet. If you need a new roof in 10 years, guess what? You have to pay a crew thousands of dollars just to take the panels off and put them back on. That break-even point just moved to year 22. At that point, the panels are nearing the end of their life cycle. You didn't invest, you just prepaid 20 years of power and took on all the maintenance risk yourself. Now, here is the gut punch that nobody in the solar industry wants to hear. This is the math that kills the deal every single time. It's called opportunity cost. What could that $30,000 have done if you didn't bolt it to your roof? If you took that same $30,000 and put it into a boring S&P 500 index fund and let it sit for 20 years at a historical average of 8% to 10%, that money would grow to roughly $140,000 to $200,000. Meanwhile, your solar panels after 20 years are worth zero. They are e-waste. Even if you saved $40,000 in power bills over those 20 years, you're still down over $100,000 compared to the guy who just kept his money in the market and paid his utility bill like a normal person. Everything pays for itself if you ignore what that capital could have earned elsewhere. Solar isn't an investment, it's a massive capital allocation error. And let's talk about the exit strategy. What happens when you want to sell your house? The solar rep told you it adds value. Ask any real estate agent the truth. A house with a 20-year solar lien is a nightmare to sell. Most buyers don't want to take over your underwater loan. They don't want to pay an extra $200 a month for panels they didn't choose. Often, you're forced to pay off the entire remaining balance of the loan just to close the sale. That $20,000 you still owe, it comes straight out of your home equity. You just handed your profit from the home sale back to the solar financing company? You didn't build equity, you just gave the solar company a second mortgage on your life. Look, if you want solar because you love the tech, or you want to save the planet, or you just like the way it looks, fine. That's a lifestyle decision. It's like buying a boat or a luxury watch. It's a way to spend your money that makes you feel good. But don't call it a financial strategy. The real question isn't, will solar save me money on my electric bill? The real question is this the absolute best return for my hard-earned capital? And 99% of the time, the answer is a resounding no. The solar industry is built on kickbacks, fine print, and predatory lending disguised as green progress. They are betting that you'll be so blinded by the $0 bill that you'll ignore the six-figure opportunity cost. Don't be Dave. Don't let solar envy drive your financial bus. Your wealth isn't built by saving a few bucks on a utility bill. It's built by deploying your capital where it actually grows.